His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Professor Emmanuel Uduaghan, SAN, our chairman for today's occasion, Chief Tony Elumelu. Well, he's laughing because he has not officially taken the title yet. But I'm happy to say that we have so many traditional rulers here. And they can just give you one here now. Our Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator James Manager, I welcome you. Our former Governor, I welcome you. Mr. Speaker, our Chief Judge, President Customary Court of Appeal, all our other top government functionaries, our royal fathers, the Chairman of the Traditional Council, and the other royal fathers here present, our spiritual fathers. Let me especially recognize one of our visitors, Alhaji Lawan Gambo. I welcome you. And I welcome everyone to today's ceremony. When Tony was speaking, he had no paper in front of him. He spoke from his head. I think I'm older than him. So, I will not speak like him. I will speak from the paper. This is our 13th year of democratic rule, if we agree that the latest episode of democratic rule started in 1999. And for us as a state this year, we decided that in marking the democracy period, or democracy day, we should look at a very key issue as a state. Yes, the democracy day itself is tomorrow. We shall be thanking God tomorrow. But we thought we should gather ourselves here today to look at the issue of the micro, small and medium scale enterprises as drivers for achieving the goal of what we call Delta Beyond Oil. Why have we chosen this? Because we believe that to achieve our overall vision, we need to start from the bottom. And what is this vision? I'll just take a few minutes to try and explain to us what we have set out to do as a government since 2007. Now, when we came in 2007, of course, you need to write out all the things you want to do. Sometimes they are in hundreds. You want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do that. And because there are so many, it's difficult to remember. So people reduce them to what they call agenda. That's why you have 21 agenda, 14 agenda, 7 agenda. But then it's also difficult to remember. So for us, we reduced ours to what we call the 3-point agenda. And this simply means, or it simply were, peace and security, human capital development, and infrastructure development. If you look at the issue of peace and security, without peace and security, you cannot achieve human capital development, you cannot achieve infrastructure development. Because without peace, without security in certain areas, you cannot even go and start putting up any infrastructure. And of course, a lot of this insecurity we're having was as a result of lack of poor infrastructure. The agitation in the Niger Delta was as a result of no infrastructure or very poor infrastructure. And of course, without infrastructure, you cannot be thinking of human capital development. So what does this mean? That the 3-point agenda, they are interwoven. You need one to achieve the other. But then, what is the target of this 3-point agenda? The overall target is that of job creation. Because the whole world today, whether in America, Europe, Nigeria, anywhere, the greatest challenge we have worldwide is that of job creation. Young people without jobs are very many. There are many in Delta. There are many in every state in this country. There are many in other countries. And so our major target is how do we create jobs, especially for our youths and of course our women. And to be able to do this, we needed to articulate our strategy that we termed Delta Beyond Oil. Initially it was Delta without oil, but you know, when you have very intelligent Deltans, they can analyze, and we analyze, and we now say Delta Beyond Oil. And what does this mean? It simply means using the oil money that we have to create an enabling environment in which other areas of the economy can develop. Areas of agriculture, areas of tourism, and other areas can develop. Such that if tomorrow we do not have oil, our economy will remain stable and will continue to grow. So that was our main strategy, and that was why we tagged it Delta Beyond Oil. What did we have to do in creating that environment, in creating jobs? We looked at our agenda. First, we have to tackle the issue of peace and security. How did we tackle peace and security? You will recall that about 2007, we were almost at the peak of the Niger Delta crisis, in which there was so much killing in the riverine area. We had two strategies that we put into boxes. We had a box on the left, a box we termed that of engagement. Engage the youths that are causing the crisis. See how you can give them hope. See how you can reduce the tension. And a box on the right, a box of law and order. If in spite of the engagement, you still go ahead and commit crime, of course, there will be law and order on the right side waiting for you. And so on this box of engagement, we put up our Delta Waterway Security Committee, a group of youths who had been community leaders, who had been part of the crisis when it started. You will recall that the crisis in Delta started as a result of inter-ethnic crisis. They had been part of it, they had experienced it. Of course, resolving the inter-ethnic crisis, we now have to put them into the Delta Waterway Security Committee, mainly to ensure that they gather enough intelligence for the security agencies to act, mainly to ensure that they preempt further crisis. And they were on, and I believe that they did a lot of work in reducing the tension. Secondly, we also started funding fully the DESOPADEC, which is Delta State Oil Area Police Development Commission, which ensured that the people of those areas had hope, were involved in the management of the funds that was coming to them, and that gave them a lot of hope. That helped in reducing tension in that area. Of course, you know, the federal government was also very active in managing that crisis. They put up the joint task force, and Mr. President then was also involved in the engagement and eventually put up the amnesty program. And so a combination of the activities of the state government and that of the federal government ensured that we had almost an end to the tricky Niger Delta crisis. But after such crisis, there are fallouts, especially when the youths are not engaged. And the fallouts were the armed robbery, the kidnapping that we started seeing and we started noticing. But as a state government, because Mr. Lumelu has actually said the government should do a lot in terms of ensuring peace and security. As a state government, we have a lot of strategies working with the federal government security outfits, the Joint Task Force, the police, the SSS, to reduce the level of criminality. Security is not cheap. We are involved in trying to develop the infrastructure or the build up the infrastructure for the security agencies, assisting them with logistics, assisting them with vehicles, communication gadgets, and some other information gathering equipment. In fact, next week, the Inspector General of Police will be coming to Delta to commission some of these vehicles that will help the police. So we are committed to assisting the security agencies in ensuring that they do their work properly, and I believe that if they are fully encouraged, they will do very well. And I can say that since we mapped out a strategy in the last few weeks, there's been a reduction in crime. But that does not mean that the criminality is zero. We know that there's a national challenge on security issues. But as a state, like I said, we are standing up to it to deal with the security challenges we have in Delta. And I want to thank you for also noticing that the rate is reducing, and we want to encourage our people, especially investors. Now, that is on the security issues. The second aspect in our overall strategy of Delta Beyond Oil is the human capital development. Because without an adequate program to develop our people, it is difficult to stop them from being restless. And how did we do our strategy? Our strategy of human capital development starts from the very day the man meets the woman and a pregnancy occurs. So our strategy is from the first day of pregnancy to the time the child is born, to the time the child starts going to school, to the time the child leaves school, to the time the child starts working, to retirement and all that. I'll just briefly explain what I'm talking about. Now, a pregnant woman hopes to deliver a viable baby. If that baby is delivered and the baby is not viable, the baby is likely, when that child grows, to become a problem to society. I'm sure every woman here understands what I'm saying. When any woman here delivers, 1 minute the child has not cried, 5 minutes the child has not cried, 10 minutes the child has not cried. What do? We start getting restless as mothers. Mothers, is that not so? But as soon as that child is delivered and the child starts crying, of course the woman will be so happy and she's ready for the next one. So it is important that we deliver children that are viable. And how do we ensure this? Is by ensuring that our mothers, our pregnant women, have access to proper health care.